أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We start our program with his name, the All-Compassionate, the All-Merciful. Welcome to this episode of the program, Ladies of Ashoura. This is our 5th episode. We've been talking about, we have tried to give you an introduction of the viewpoint of Islam with regards to women. And then we talked about the first 2 categories of women who are related somehow directly and indirectly to the event of Ashura. The last person we talked about was Khalaf, and inshallah in this program we would like to talk about Ruwayha, the wife of Hani ibn Urwa Muradi.
Okay, so Ruwayha was one of the ladies who hosted Muslim ibn Aqil, and in the story of the rising of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Again, if we go to those TV series of Mukhtar Nameh, that I highly suggest you watch them, because every time I read one of these names, it keeps bringing memories of the scenes of the movie that has been made beautifully. There's this part that we watched that Muslim ibn Aqil is all alone and thirsty, but there was also another person who hosted Muslim ibn Aqil. Her name is Ruwayha. She is the wife of Hani ibn Urwa. Now, Hani
actually hosted Muslim, but Ruwayha was, was also one of the Shias and one of the companions of the Ahlul Bayt.
Exactly. So Hani was one of the well-known figures of the Shia community, and because of hosting Muslim ibn Aqil, actually the soldiers of Ubaidullah come and attack him, and they imprison him and all of that. So the wife of Hani, Ruwayha, and her son Yahya, they hide from the forces of Ubaidullah. And when they hear the news of the arrival of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam and the settling of their camp in Karbala, they join Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and they both become martyred.
What we're trying to do is having you hear the different names, the different personalities and characters who took part, and we just don't stop where we stop talking. Go ahead and analyze what we've said in your minds and see what we can understand, what we can learn. So it's not like it's not like a unilateral relationship where we're just talking and then it's going to finish. We want you to contemplate, and we want you to think. So the other character, the other personality in the second category of women is Wahab. Actually, we have 2 Wahabs on the plain of Karbala. There's this one Wahab who is Christian, that we're going to talk about him, but this Wahab is a different one. This Wahab is the wife of Abdullah ibn Umayr Kalbi, and when her husband wants to go join forces with Imam al-Hussein, Wahab says that, pleads to her husband to join him. And on the day of Ashura, Abdullah goes to the field, and she takes a piece of wood going to the field to, in the war field, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam tells her that jihad has not been made obligatory for women, so please go back, and he prays for her. And in the midst of the warfare, Abdullah ibn Umayr Kalbi is martyred, and she rushes to the side of her husband, cleanses the blood from his face, and one of the forces of Umar Saad, called Rustam, who is Sham's slave, they attack her, and she reaches the stage, the spiritual status of martyrdom. So she's the first martyred lady on the day of Ashura.
Okay. So now let's talk about the other Wahab, and I love her story because
it's a romantic story.
It's a romantic story, and it's a story of a person who converts to Islam, and not very far from that time, they actually reached the level of martyrdom. So this Wahab that we are talking about is the mother of a man called Wahab. And Wahab is just recently married, and in those years they are experiencing a very dry season, and it's a drought. So once Imam Hussein alayhi salam goes to their camp to actually request their help to join him in the battle of Ashura. And at that time, Wahab is not there, but Imam Hussein alayhi salam digs the sand a little bit, and subhanallah, by the miracle of Allah, some water sprouts and some water gushes out, and there's a small pond or river or whatever. So when Wahab comes and he sees this scene that there is water in a place that there was a drought, he becomes very much interested in meeting Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Now remember that Wahab is Christian, he's not even a Muslim. So Wahab, his wife and his mother go to meet Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, and they become Muslim when they meet Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and they decide to join the army of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. When Wahab is martyred, the forces of the enemy, because they want to break the spirit of the mother and the wife, they throw the head of Wahab to the mother, and the Wahab kisses the head of her son, and she throws it back, and she says, "We do not take back the gift that we give in the way of Allah and in the way of the Ahlul Bayt." So this is another example of a brave lady, and also his wife. His wife is one of those people who, when she saw that her husband was martyred, she goes close to him and she becomes martyred as well, right?
The next personality that I would like to talk about, that most of you have already heard and are familiarized with, is the beloved wife of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, called Rabab or Rabab, who is the mother of Ali Asghar, the 6-month infant who was brutally martyred on the day of Ashura. And also she's the mother of Sakina. It's very interesting that as I was reading about the life of Imam al-Hussein prior to the event of Ashura, I read somewhere that Imam al-Hussein had a very close relationship, had a very intimate, romantic love for this wife, Rabab, and their beloved daughter Sakina. And her name is actually, it means Sakina, it means a person and an individual who brings peace to the heart of her beloved father. So according to some narrations, Rabab was present on the day of Ashura. According to some other narrations, she was not there. So based on the narrations that say that she was there, she was taken from Karbala to Sham with the other captives, and then to the city of Medina. For 1 whole year, Rabab would mourn. She would recite eulogies. She would recite mourning poems for her beloved Imam al-Hussein and all the other companions who took part on the day of Ashura. Interestingly, this lady had many proposals, many good proposals from wealthy people and from high personalities of the Quraysh, but she did not want to marry after Imam al-Hussein. And 1 year, and she cried so much, and she refused to stay in the shade because of what Imam al-Hussein and his companions had experienced on the day of Karbala. And shortly after the event of Karbala, 1 year after that, she also passed away in the year 62 after Hijrah. And interestingly, I heard Fatima that Rabab had some other sisters who had married the Imams, and because of this, they were called the Heavenly Sisters. So this was very interesting.
And she was also a very knowledgeable lady.
Yes.
And she was one of the narrators of the hadiths.
It's true. Okay, I think this brings us to the end of another episode of the program Ladies of Ashura. Inshallah, in our next episode, we will talk about a unique personality called Shahbanu. So if you want to learn more, please join us. We wish you all the best. May we be able to train our children in the way that we will be all among the assistants and companions of the Imam of our time. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.